Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm super excited to finally be doing this video because I have been talking about it for months. I think at this point it's been months, but to my defense, bronzers keep getting released, so I have to keep trying them out. But I think I'm at a point where I'm not gonna say I'm done buying bronzers, but I think the beauty world is currently at a point where they're probably not going to be releasing anytime soon. So I think it's safe for me to finally rank all of my new bronzers. Now, I have added quite a good amount of bronzers to my collection within this year. I mean, I have 11. Okay, so technically I have 12, but 2 of them are from the same brand. It's just I just have different shades in them. But yeah, I'm going to be ranking 11 bronzers. So I am so excited to finally, kind of get my thoughts together and be able to give them a number. So before we get into this, if you guys are new to my channel, hello, I am Suzana, and all we really do here is talk about makeup. I love luxury makeup. That is just where my heart is. Here and there, I'll dabble into some drugstore, more affordable products, but luxury makeup is what I mostly do focus on here on my channel. So if you guys have an interest in that, please make sure that you subscribe and follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to be a little bit more active on there, and it's just nice to be able to socialize and talk and communicate with other people that have same interests that I do. Alright guys, so the way I'm going to set this up is I'm going to have to move my camera over because I'm going to show you guys these products in the order from my least favorite to my most favorite bronzer. And that is not to say that my least favorite is not one that I don't like at all. It's just, as I'm saying, my least favorite out of all the ones that I have. And I will be ranking these the way that I do for different reasons, so we'll be explaining that as we go. But the reason why I'm going to be moving my camera and just focus on the actual bronzers is because I want to show you guys finger swatches as well as swatches with a brush. So I'm only going to be using one brush, which is going to be this guy here. This is the Wayne Goss number 12. Now the reason that I want to use this brush is because I feel like this one is a little bit more kind of tightly packed, a little bit shorter than other bronzer brushes that I use, a little bit more dense as well. So this works for all of my bronzers. Now, I typically won't reach for something like this on a bronzer that's a little bit too pigmented or too soft, but it is my go-to for bronzers that don't have a lot of pigment or that are a little bit more pressed. So I am able to pick up a little bit more with a brush like this. So I just thought I'll use the same brush for all of them across the board, just so that I'm also not switching up. So you will see that this is going to look dirty, but I do have a towel here to wipe off the brush, and I can pick up a product from another bronzer. And that is what I will be doing between each swatch. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. So far, I think these are all the bronzers I've purchased this year. 2020 has been a crazy year. I don't like to speak too negatively about, things. So on a positive note, there have been a lot of great things that have happened to people throughout this year. But, for our beauty community, it is that there have been a lot of really beautiful, great bronzer releases this year that, yeah, I'm excited to finally be sharing with you guys. So let's go ahead and start off with the ranking. Okay guys, so starting off with number 11, this one here is my least favorite bronzer. This is the Guerlain Terracotta Brazilian Beach Bronzer, and it looks just beautiful. I actually really even love the packaging of this, but this to me falls at number 11 because it is not a bronzer. I have made several attempts to just pick up this middle shade, but even just that shade looks a little bit too peachy on me. Here I'm going to go ahead and swatch both of the colors for you guys. And I'm just not a fan of how this looks on my skin tone as a bronzer, but as a blush, it is actually really beautiful. I actually enjoy it so much as a blush that it is what I am wearing today on my cheeks. So as you can see, they're mixed. It just looks too peachy. It is a very beautiful color, do not get me wrong, but it is definitely not a bronzy shade. At least not for me. I'm not even sure who will actually be able to get away with this as just a bronzer. So this is exactly how it looks on my cheeks. A very beautiful, like grapefruit shade, and it is a really pretty color, especially for the summertime. But because this is not a bronzer for me, I have to rate this as my least favorite. At number 10, I have this Este Lauder Bronze Goddess. This is actually more of a face palette where you can use the contour, a highlight, and a warmer shade here for your bronzer. When I have palettes like this, I like to just go in with a brush and mix all the shades, but individually these top shades do perform really well. However, because of the way that I like to use these kind of palettes, once I mix this, it actually has a quite heavy red undertone, and I don't find that to look flattering on me. I really dislike bronzers that have too much redness to them, but I have figured out that if I do use bronzers like this, I use it as both a bronzer and a blush at the same time, and it does help my complexion look a lot more even and not too kind of messy and all over the place because of that red hue that it gives. So the red undertone of this one is why it falls on 10th place. For the same reason as the Estee Lauder, this Clinique Powder Pop Flower Bronzer falls on 9th place because it does have a red undertone, but this one I actually enjoy so much more. It's got this very nice satin finish. It looks really healthy on the skin. And I do enjoy this one also to use it as a bronzer and then bring it down to my cheeks to also add some color there. So I do use this again as a bronzer and as a blush at the same time, and I love how this performs. It adds a beautiful warmthness to my face that I have really been enjoying. When I first used this, I didn't like it because I was using a blush along with this, and that was not flattering my skin tone at all, but it actually gives like this really beautiful, very natural looking color to the skin, and I love this. But because it is a red undertone, to just use it as a bronzer, it's just not my thing. Number 9 is this COSA's Powder Bronze in the shade Light. I feel like this is going to come as a shock to a lot of people because this has been highly raved. Now, I did pick up the shade Light. Granted, I would normally go with maybe the second shade to the lightest, but I felt like the medium shade was just a little bit too dark, so I just opted to go ahead and get this one. Now, this is actually a really nice bronzer, and I use it in 2 different ways. One way I enjoy this bronzer is using it with a softer brush to just add some radiance over the bronzer that I've used, so it's really good to layer. And then I've also used it with a brush like this one to actually go ahead and give me more of that bronzy look. And this looks just very natural on the skin. It looks really pretty. It will help my skin look a little extra radiant, and I do enjoy it. It's just, I don't know, there's just something about it. It could be the actual shade that just does not fully do it for me, but I can make it work, and I have enjoyed this. But I just feel like I'm very limited with how I enjoy this one. But nonetheless, it is a very beautiful bronzer. It's a very beautiful radiant sheer formula, very natural on the skin. Number 7 is the Ilia Night Light Bronzing Powder. I have the shade Dawn In. This is the lightest of the 2 that they released, and this I really enjoy because of the actual shade. It works really well for my skin tone, and this is a product that I can use to bronzer with because it does have just a little bit of that grayness to it that can help add some actual definition to my cheeks. So I really like it because of that, and just the actual color itself, very easy to use. I really just like the subtle bronziness that it gives my skin, and this is very easy to apply. It blends effortlessly, and like the COSA's, this is also a clean brand. So number 6, we have these beautiful bronzers from Dolce and Gabbana. The packaging of these deserve the number 1 spot. They are so beautiful. Anyway, these are part of the Solar Glow collection. I think is it also the Mediterranean collection? Okay, I'm not sure. But they're called the Ultra Light Bronzing Powders. Now, as you can see, I have 2 shades in here, and they are both a different formula as well, which I did not realize when I first got these. The darker shade is this one here, which is called Amber number 50, and this one has a bit of a radiance finish to it, a little bit sheer as well. The lighter shade here is Sunrise, which is number 30, and this has a matte finish. Let me try and show you guys a little bit of a close-up so that you can see the design is different, and I finally realized it's because of the actual finish. Now, the reason why I still went ahead and bring these together is because I feel that the actual tones are the same, except amber is more pigmented, so the tone does seem a little bit darker and it has that radiant finish, whereas again a Sunrise is a matte, but it's the lighter version of amber, at least in my opinion. So here we have Sunrise, and like I said, it's the matte finish. And it's not like a dry matte or anything like that. It's a very natural type of a bronzer. And then here is Amber, which is more of that satiny finish. And as you can see, the tones are quite similar. They actually have a little bit of a yellowness to them, and I find that to be very unique. More recently, I've actually been mixing both of these shades, and I just love the finish and the warmthness that it adds to my skin tone. But I will go ahead and swatch these with the brush individually so you guys can see. Sunrise here on this side, and then Amber will go over here. These are scented. It has a little bit of a tropical, I guess it's kind of a coconut scent to them. It smells nice. After a while I kind of get sick of it, but luckily that scent does not linger. Oh, but this packaging, guys, no denying it, it's gorgeous. Next up is this Dior bronzer, and I've actually really been enjoying my bronzers from Dior. I only have a few, but they are beautiful. This one here is the Dior Skin Mineralized Bronze from the Color Game collection. They did release 2 shades. I have shade 2, which is, as you can see, quite dark, but this adds the most perfect warmness to my skin. I do have to be careful because this is very pigmented. I'm going to go ahead and do a finger swatch of each of the shades here just so you guys can see how pigmented these are. I mean, they're quite dark, which, you know, we can't complain about. I mean, they only came out with 2 shades, so it is good that at least like their number 2 shade is dark. I can make it work, but I do have to be a little bit more careful with how I pick up this bronzer. So I do try to focus my brush around on the perimeter portion of the compact, but it still ends up picking up quite a bit of that darker shade as well. Still though, I think this adds a really nice warmthness to the skin. It actually looks like I went out on vacation, like my ass actually went out to a beach and enjoyed myself in the sun with, I don't know, a pina colada. I don't even like those, but usually I'll have one when I do go to a resort and stay by a beach. And this is the color that I want to come home with. This bronzer is gorgeous. Their lighter shade just looked way too light. So I don't actually regret getting this color because, like I said, I'm able to really make it work for my skin tone, and I love what it does. So this is a very beautiful one. I'm pretty sure this is limited edition, but it is still available through many of the retailers. So if you guys are interested, check it out. It is beautiful. At number 4, we have this beautiful Lumiere the bronzing powder. Oh, this is stunning. You can see that there is a highlighter, a bronzer, and a little tiny portion there of what you could call a blush. I will go ahead and swatch these separately for you guys, but this is another product that I do not use separately. I just go ahead and mix all the colors in. But if you do want to use each color individually, you can. That highlighter is very pretty. It's got a really nice, it adds a really nice radiance to the skin. The blush, however, is quite difficult to actually pick up. You can probably even tell from my swatch right there. I wasn't really able to swatch it all that well. But like my other bronzers like this, I like to go in with my brush and just swirl it. And the finish that this gives is another really natural finish. I really enjoy how it adds color to my skin without being too much. I don't have to be super careful with how this applies. I don't have to be super careful with what brush I'm using. But if I do want more color, I will use a brush that's a little bit more denser like I am today. Very gorgeous, a really nice sheeny finish, and it just looks natural. I'm pretty sure this is also limited edition, but it is available in many places. So if you want to get your hands on it, like I said, now is the time. But it is for sure number 4 because it is gorgeous. I love it. This is my first Lumiere bronzer, and I'm looking forward to some more. So this is the newest bronzer in my collection, and this falls at number 3. It is so darn pretty, and I just really also love how the powder is designed in there. This bronzer is from the Le Beige collection, and it is actually called the Healthy Glow Illuminating Powder. The shade I have here is a Sunset, which is the darker of the 2 shades released. Now, I don't know if this is actually meant to be a bronzer, but that is how I use it, and that is how I love it. When I first swatched this, and you guys can probably tell right there, I felt like it was going to be too warm. It leans a little bit on the orange side. But I don't know, there is just something about when I apply this to my face that I just fall so in love with it. I just think it's because it also gives me those, like, you know, I just came back from vacation vibes. It really adds a lot of warmthness to my skin, which is not something I'm always looking for in a bronzer. I mean, obviously a bronzer is to add, you know, some warmthness, but some do it more than others, and I just feel like the undertone of this one kind of helps make it look a little bit more natural, like, again, like I actually got a tan naturally. And you know guys, that doesn't really happen anyway, because I am not somebody that likes to be out in the sun very much. So bronzers like this I really do appreciate, because, you know, it gives the illusion that I do go out and get my vitamin D as I should be, you know, but like in a healthy way. And number 2, we got this other beautiful bronzer with the most beautiful packaging ever. This one is from Gucci, and I have the shade 2, and OMG guys, this bronzer is gorgeous. All throughout beautiful. I love the packaging, but the actual product inside is beautiful. As you can see right there, it is very pigmented. Again, I have the shade 2, and I am so happy I ended up picking this one up. Because this one is so pigmented, I like to go in with a fluffier brush, and it applies really beautiful, very evenly, seamlessly onto the face. I love the actual color that it gives. Now, of course, if I want to add more color, I can either use the same type of brush that we're using today, because this will actually dispense a lot more pigment, or I can layer this as well. So I really feel like this shade will work with several different skin tones. Of course, it all depends on how you apply it, but look at that beautiful sheeniness that this leaves behind. Really, really nice. This is a bronzer I think I can wear all year round, and I'm just obsessed with this. This also happens to have a fragrance, which yeah, I do overall wish that companies would stop doing that, brands would stop doing that, but it is a nice fragrance, and I think it is a beautiful bronzer. Just so beautiful. If there was one I would recommend, well actually this one, the one I'm going to talk about next, are like, I mean, there's a reason why they're my top 2. I would recommend these to anybody and everybody looking for a bronzer. This is just beautiful, and like, how gorgeous would this look in humanity? And first place goes to this stunning bronzer. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush bronzer, and I have mine in the shade 2. You guys, this is beautiful. First of all, it's freaking huge. I mean, again, another one of those with this packaging that will just look so beautiful. And your vanity, oh, I love this. I just love all of the packaging from Charlotte Tilbury, just so vintage and just gorgeous. This bronzer clearly is amazing. Now, I love this, and this made it in first place for a few reasons. First, let me point out that when I first got this, I wasn't all that into it because I felt like the shade was just not going to work out all that well for me. But using the right brush, you get such a wonderful payoff. This is one of those bronzers that has a really nice tone to it that I feel like I can bronzer with. So I can also kind of add some definition to my face while also adding some warmthness. The actual powder is very soft, so it looks very natural on the skin, and I just think it is beautiful. This one for sure is the most friendly user bronzer from all the ones I'm ranking today, and just because of how it applies. Just like the actual pressed powder from Charlotte Tilbury, which I just adore, this bronzer performs exactly the same. You cannot see where your bronzer ends or begins. You would really have to try for it to look muddy on your skin. I just love it. The formula of this is so beautiful. Just, it's an A+, 100%. Love, love, love this bronzer. So for sure, I had to name this my #1. Charlotte Tilbury just really outdid herself with this. Alright guys, so those were all the bronzers that I purchased this year. The ranking wasn't as difficult as I actually thought it was going to be. Again, I just wanted to reiterate, I like all of these bronzers for different reasons. Obviously, the ones I like the most just suit me, my needs, and my skin tone a lot better than the ones that were all the way in the end. But you know, it's all a preference. So if you guys have any of these bronzers, let me know how you will rank them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm not sure if it was all that informative. I mean, I think I just literally ranked them as to what I enjoy for myself the most, and that's pretty much it. I know I didn't go like too in depth with like the description of each bronzer, but again, I was just ranking them based on what I like. So okay, we have reached the end. If you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up. It really does help me out a lot. And while you're there, do not forget to subscribe so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time.